Ali Reza Jahangiri, Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran. You have the floor, Ambassador.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Chairperson, I would like to congratulate Your Excellency, Ambassador Eduardo Ibarrola Nicolin of Mexico, on your well-deserved election as the chairperson of this conference. I am confident that under your able leadership, this conference will be steered to a successful conclusion. I assure you of the full support and cooperation of my delegation. I would also like to express my appreciation to Her Excellency Ambassador Vesela Mrden-Kurash of Croatia for her endeavors as the chairperson of the 19th session of the Conference of the State Parties. I would also like to extend my delegation's appreciation to the Director General, Ambassador Ahmed Uzumcu, and his colleagues in the Technical Secretariat for their efforts and excellent arrangements in preparations for this conference. My delegation would like to associate itself with the statement of the 9 Alive movement and China that are state parties to the Chemical Weapons Convention. I wish to express my sincere congratulations to Professor Mahdi Balalimud, an Iranian eminent toxicologist who has been selected as the recipient of the second annual OPCW The Hague Award by the selection committee of the 2015 award. Professor Balalimud has dedicated his long career to treatment of the victims of chemical weapons in Iran. This proves the winner's scientific endeavors and shows the positive approach of the OPCW towards victims of the chemical weapons. I also congratulate Dr. Alistair Hay of the UK as co-recipient of this award. Mr. Chairperson, His Excellency Director General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the international community has paid dearly for reaching an agreement on the Convention as the unique global disarmament instrument. The negotiations during which the Convention was concluded were inspired by the shocking memories of mankind of the use of different types of chemical weapons against Islamic Republic of Iran during the 20th century. The international community is well aware that the active participation of the Islamic Republic of Iran in international negotiations for formulating the Convention was rooted in a very bitter experience in our recent history as main victim of chemical weapons. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, since its inception, has been an exemplary multilateral forum based on the Chemical Weapons Convention, in which all state parties enjoy equal rights. All the efforts aimed at progress and gradual development of this organization towards the realization of a world free of chemical weapons are commendable. Mr. Chairperson, existence of chemical weapons poses a significant threat to the international peace and security and undermines the integrity and credibility of the Convention. Therefore, total destruction of all chemical weapons stockpiles is a fundamental pillar of the Convention and continues to remain the key objective of the Convention and the top priority of the organization. The Islamic Republic of Iran remains seriously concerned that major possessor state parties have not complied with this fundamental obligation of the Convention. The major possessor state parties shall comply with their obligations and accelerate their efforts within the framework of the Convention and its verification regimes to destroy all chemical weapons stockpiles in the shortest time possible. The Islamic Republic of Iran values the achievements of the organization in the past 18 years in this regard and emphasizes that complete destruction of all categories of chemical weapons stockpiles continues to remain the most essential element for realization of the object and purpose of the Convention. The Islamic Republic of Iran attaches great importance to the organization and its future development, which is of utmost importance for its effectiveness. However, we should bear in mind that changes of any kind in the structure and activities of the organization shall not lead to its diversion from the main core objective, namely disarmament. In this regard, we would like to stress that since significant amounts of chemical weapons, stockpiles, old and abandoned chemical weapons are yet to be destroyed, the primary mandate of the organization is the total destruction and complete elimination of all categories of chemical weapons. Mr. Chairperson, the Islamic Republic of Iran supported the Syrian Arab Republic's accession to the convention and shared its experiences with Syria to implement its obligations under the convention. In this regard, during the last 2 years, the National Authority of the Islamic Republic of Iran has established a close cooperation with the Syrian National Authority. We have organized training courses for the Syrian experts in Tehran and Damascus for those involved in implementation of the convention, with the support of the Technical Secretariat in the framework of the mentorship program. My delegation welcomes the substantive progress achieved in the destruction process of the Syrian chemical weapons and is pleased with the level of cooperation that the Syrian Arab Republic demonstrates with the Technical Secretariat to solve the remaining issues and to fulfill its obligations under the convention. I congratulate the government of the Syrian Arab Republic for its determination and achievement to eliminate its chemical weapons. We believe that the Syrian government, despite facing difficult security situation, has shown its commitment to meet its obligations in a cooperative and transparent manner, so it should be treated with an ordinary approach as a normal member states. With regard to the cooperation between OPCW, UN, and establishment of the Joint Investigative Mechanism, JIM, we believe that the characteristic of independence and autonomous of the OPCW should be preserved in any kind of cooperation with other international organizations. My delegation expects that the JIM to fulfill its mandate in a professional, objective, and impartial manner. We believe that the EC should also play its important role in this process and urge the JIM to coordinate technical aspects of its activities with the OPCW. Mr. Chairperson, the international community recently has witnessed the use of toxic chemicals by terrorist groups in the Syrian Arab Republic and Iraq. The Islamic Republic of Iran, as the major victim of the contemporary use of chemical weapons, firmly believes that the use of chemical weapons by anyone under any circumstances is reprehensible and completely contrary to the legal norms and standards of the international community. The acquisition of chemical weapons by terrorist groups threatens the international peace and security. We believe that the perpetrators and those who assisted terrorist groups to acquire such capabilities must be held accountable. My country calls upon all state parties to refrain from providing any financial, logistical, and military support to those terrorist groups and make every effort to prevent them from accessing any kind of toxic chemicals substances. Mr. Chairperson, my delegation would like to welcome and congratulate Myanmar and Angola as new members of the Chemical Weapons Convention, bringing state parties to 192. In fact, new membership are paving the way towards real universality of the CWC. The objectives of the convention will not be fully realized as long as there remains even a single state not party that could possess or acquire chemical weapons. Given the importance attached to the universal adherence to the convention and its contribution to international peace and security, we expect other non-members to the convention to accede to it without further delay or precondition. Mr. Chairperson, Article 11 is one of the major pillars of the convention. The aim of this article is to promote free trade of chemicals and chemical technology among state parties. Needless to say that agreement in this article has been one of the primary motives of developing countries to join the convention as well. Unfortunately, almost 18 years after entry into force of the convention, and in spite of the provisions of Article 11 and the related decisions by the Conference of the State Parties, the commitments of the state parties in this field have not been met. In fact, Article 11, which articulates all critical areas of cooperation regarding facilitating the fullest possible exchange of chemicals, equipment, and technical information in the field of chemistry for peaceful purposes, will generate a stronger support for the overall goals of the convention. International cooperation, from another point of view, is one of the important issues in order to enhance national implementation and to promote the capacity building of state parties. While my delegation expresses the firm conviction that a plan of action may ensure the full implementation of Article 11, it's called upon the state parties to remove any discriminatory restrictions such as unilateral sanctions against other state parties or restrictions beyond the CWC provisions for the state parties which affect the convention's long-term viability and have an adverse impact on the trust existing among the state parties. My delegation appreciates recent efforts made by the Technical Secretariat in the field of Article 11 based on state parties' proposals, including NAM, CWC state parties, and China proposal on the full, effective, and non-discriminatory implementation of Article 11, and looks forward to more consultation between the Technical Secretariat and the state parties in this regard. We also welcome the appointment of the new facilitator for this article. Mr. Chairperson, while the organization works toward a world free of chemical weapons, we shall not forget to work to remedy the chemical weapons victims' situation. The Islamic Republic of Iran would like to express its appreciation to the state parties and the Director General for their efforts and goodwill to sympathize with the victims of chemical weapons by adopting a decision to establish the International Support Network for Victims and contributions to the Voluntary Trust Fund of the network. The state parties also are requested to contribute to the trust fund to show their solidarity with the victims of chemical weapons and to enhance the humanitarian aims of the network. We hope with the adequate resources of the trust fund, the Technical Secretariat would be able to realize its mandate according to the decision adopted. Article 10 is a unique legal framework for promotion of collective security through global joint efforts and is a major guarantee for the state parties to effectively respond to any chemical weapons attack. The readiness of the organization to deliver assistance, especially with regard to the needs of the victims of chemical weapons, is of utmost importance as stipulated in various documents adopted by the policy-making organs. My delegation believes that well-organized efforts with adequate resources for implementation of the provision of Article 10 and achievement of a consistent status of readiness by the organization for responding to requests for assistance, particularly with regard to the needs of victims of chemical weapons, are crucial for the realization of the objectives of the Convention. Full implementation of this article can only be reached through maintaining the highest possible standards of coordination and readiness for delivery of assistance by the organization and the state parties as well. I am pleased to remind you that the International Center for Treatment of Victims of Chemical Weapons in Tehran has been made available to the OPCW through the agreement which was concluded between Islamic Republic of Iran and the organization under paragraph 7 of Article 10 of the Convention. In closing, Mr. Chairperson, may I request that this statement to be circulated as an official statement of the 20th session of the conference and to be posted on both the external server and public website. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your statement.